Hi, my name is Liz, and I would like to share a breakdown of this neat little procedural level design tool that I've been working on for the past few months or so. This is what it looks like currently all finished, not in the game engine. This is Houdini, which is where I made it in. And let's go into here and explain to you what all these dots are. So I started off by using this neat little point generate node to basically create 2 points that will decide the overall length and width of the full level being designed out. So this right here is the length, and here is this neat little control, which is just the null node with what is it, a slider on it to control the values. So here's what it looks like together with both the length and the width for the level to level size. And now we're going to get into more of the level generator, which I have these neat little add nodes. Do that. And these guys basically are what are connecting the 2 points together to form a form of lines to have a visual representation of what the length and the width of the tool would look like. While I'm thinking about it, let me do this real quick. So just to kind of show you what that looks like, is it subtracts and takes away the length to be however small or big that you want your level to look like. Let's bring it back. And here we go with a resample to get all the neat little points, and then here's where we delete the ends of the points and then sort through to reverse the point sort, which is basically reversing these numbers. So if I show you beforehand, you starting down here with 15, and then down here will be 0, and then with the sorts on, it'll reverse that. So then you start with 0 here and then end with 15 here, and it does it for both. I've done it for both sides. A lot of this is just copying and repeating the same type of techniques, I guess, that you learned throughout this process. And here is to randomize the numbering or the points in those said lines on both ends, because it's also done here too, just to show you. And this is what they look like merged together. Displaying the points. Go down further and we'll see there's a lot of nodes here. There. And here, where we scatter the points, actually get points all over the grid that you've created within the bounds of this little point and this little point here, just to kind of show you. Sort in and grab them. Do a lot of group transfers to transfer point groups over to create this neat little cutout, which is created here, where you select these points here and basically delete out what you don't want, and transferring and a lot of deletion. So basically taking the points from this guy over here, which is as a 1 by 1 grid, That's what it looks like. Finished here. And to get rid of all the actual geometry that generates with the grid, you just click add an add node and then click delete geometry. But keep points in here. We're just transferring over another group and then outputting it here and then taking it in here, feeding it through a delete to grab these specific groupings of points to get this guy here, which is creating holes basically in the mesh, which gets combined over here somewhere. Yeah. And will act as some neat areas where either I think currently I have as houses spawning or trees, and just to give you one of those areas are these guys right in here. These little red dots are basically spawn points for either I have this building generator that'll take some of the points away, but without that checked, I believe it generates trees and engine versus that. So if you want to generate buildings, you gotta hit this little check mark here to get them to show up. And for this process, it's basically just a lot of just laying out points where you want them and then creating Unreal instances to generate meshes at those points locations. So to kind of show you, this is the one that I used for the pavement or for the ground plane, which can in reality use just about any size mesh, but I believe I'm currently using like a 1x1 block, so ideally it'll be really, really tiny. Come down here. So this is all the pavement. And kind of show you the finished object and kind of show you, see if it'll give it a minute. Okay. This is let me set that back to the default so it doesn't look so weird. So this is what it looks like when you have mesh all over those little points. The points just act as a spawn location for them. And here I am randomizing the direction of the normals. So technically each of these little meshes are facing in a different direction. And here is a subnetwork I'll click into, and this is where I'm creating the Unreal instance, which when I switch over to Unreal, I'll show you how that works. And here you'll have the add node, and you delete geometry but keep the points because that's all we really care about, or the locations. We clean it up and remove any overlapping pairs or anything that's just not working out. And this guy here is Unreal _ instance, which is a Houdini native thing for creating instances in Unreal. And I found that out by coming to these pages, which are very useful. And here it is, Unreal instance, and its owner is the point, details the string, and it tells you right here that it creates the Unreal path of an asset to instance at a given owner transformation. So basically it just takes the location of those points and goes bam, mesh gets generated there. And this is just to kind of show you what it'll look like. It'll have these instance and inputs in Unreal where you can actually swap out the meshes at if you would like to, rather than switching back into Houdini and editing the string value here, which to get to add link it to this guy up here, come in here on top of this and just add a string, and then right click and do copy parameter and then paste relative references inside of it. But this is ideally is what you'll get in terms of that. And just to kind of show you, let's see, on here I've got more pavement, where you can have more or less pavement, or what you want to call it, your base mesh or foundation. Just removes it or adds in more and takes away other properties on here. So now we'll go ahead and look at, this is the stairs or some prop generation. Kind of show you what that looks like. I have all these neat little colored points still within the bounds of the level. So this one is these first set of spawn points here, which are these guys in red. And then I've got these set of spawn points in yellow, and a neat little thing that I discovered, which some of these are the person using this tool will be able to edit, but not all of them. But you can actually offset which set of these points get displayed at a time compared to other ones. And it's just offsetting the value to show what the set of, or the group of points that you're currently messing with, which is this guy split off into two different sets. Here's some more of these neat little spawn points of different colors, and those don't show up. Neat. Okay. Here they are all combined, and these are just locations for like props, or in my case you can see all the stuff that's right up the stairs because it's originally what I was spawning there. But I believe a lot of these are trees. Yeah. And these little bits here is from Unreal, and you go in to the engine, and then you want to right click on the mesh that you're wanting to instance here automatically, and paste it into the string. And then when you load up the HDA into Unreal and just kind of throw it into the scene, it generates at its default values, whatever those are set at. Let's see. Another thing here is some more prop pulling out points out of the main grid that I created, and spawning different stuff there, which these aren't different colored, but you can see. And I think for these guys, yeah, I have some prop variation. I'm not sure if it, I don't think so. I don't think those affect those. We'll see. Which, okay, they do. These guys are affected. See, 2, 6, 4. So it's this guy's down here. See if it'll notice any change difference. Or actually, yeah, it's probably easier to see if I had colors on these guys. Is that here? That's the pavement. More pavement. These guys here are supposed to be the borders, which were all the blue dots y'all saw in the beginning, which just outline the outside of the full level, so you can block the player's view from seeing the edge of the world by spawning some form of mesh, whether it's a wall, trees, or just something. It can be whatever. These were originally walls, or I believe I'm using them again for some more prop generation type stuff, just to kind of show you. Let's see. There we go. So they're all the same point. So props or whatever meshes that I have will generate there whenever it's an engine. Let's see. Yeah, see, I think, yeah, I just got plants and barrels displaying there. And when you merge them all together, you get the nice colorful layouts. Over here is where I'm doing some building generation stuff, which I will show you because I have the system in here that I built. I actually built it separately, so you can see, and I'll change my view so you can see what that actually looks like when they're evenly spaced out. Let's see if I still have them in here. The original. So each of these guys have the same instance nodes as you saw before, so that the meshes will be instance at these locations. And if I do this, so this is for like the base or the main body of the house will be generated. This guy here, which are the yellow points, is the place where the door will actually spawn. And here is the windows, I believe. Yeah, these are the windows, or things will get removed so that the balcony can, or two windows will get removed so two balconies get put on by messing around with a parameter, which is in the tool, in the original tool of this guy here. All put together, the points will look like that. So you got the blue, which is the body, the yellow to represent the door location, and the green are the location of the windows. So here we'll have balcony points, which I'll go out here on this guy and hit this here. So you can actually see that they do generate. And they each have their own translation value, so you can edit it based on where you want them. And over here is the chimney combined with everything else. It looks something like this. So you got your window over there, and you got your two windows here, and then your two balconies, which are in purple, and then the red dot's the chimney. So I basically designed this tool in the same way that I did the level design tool, where all the points and everything get represented, gets to be the locations at which the mesh is spawned. Here's for like a little base, which will make more sense. And these guys over here are some stairs, and then you just slowly merge them together and you get all these slew of beautiful, colorful points that make no sense unless you've seen it in Engine. And here's the out, just seeing how it would look if I spawned multiple of them, or had multiples of them rather than just one. And I combined that in here on this guy, which is what these colorful points all are. And right here is all the little points that I just showed, and the building generator integrated into the level design tool. And just to show you, all the parameters are affected greatly by how you want the layout to be, how big or how small. I believe the smallest you can go is 3 by 3 here, like that. And you've got one house, probably some trees and other props and whatever you want to line the outside borders with. See, we'll make it big again. Come here. See, turning on and off points, offsetting them so you can have more houses versus vegetation or whatever the opposing thing is. Let's see if these guys, yeah, I don't think I have enough colors on those guys to actually show a difference, but it'll show in Engine. So we'll switch over to Unreal and show it to y'all in Engine. You can see it made it there. it is up and running. And just keep in mind that these are all the different, you see all these HDs here, they're all the same thing, just different versions of this tool. Here's a little layout that I made with it with some meshes that I purchased from CD Trader from Tidal Flask Studios. But you can create your own little level and just kind of run around in it, which is a lot of fun. And here's where all these blue points were, which I used as trees as kind of a way to block the player from going out of bounds and that kind of stuff. You can see, get the houses. Alright, so just to kind of show ya what this guy looks like in Engine. Looks like this. It's really neat. Here you can mess around with the level, and it sometimes takes a little bit for it to update because there is a lot going on in it, and for it to re-instance all the meshes that are in there. Give it a minute. Okay, let's take it down. You can just see it is possible, and everything within here, all the props, the houses, the trees, and everything is dependent on how big or how small your level is generated at. Get it back to where it was. And just so y'all can see what it would look like when you first stick it in there. When it first generates, which will take a minute. So you can see what it generates at its default values. Once it instances everything. There we go. Doesn't look too pretty, but without the buildings, what it defaultly does is create all the little neat holes in the meshes that I made in Houdini, but I also put in this guy here because if it doesn't make sense for your world to have it, then you should have holes in your floor. So I stuck in a fill hole toggle so it'd be easier just to kind of get this to be out and show y'all exactly what the houses actually replace in here. Give it a minute. There we go. And show you can add more props, which will change once they instance a lot of differences in the layout. Oh, another thing that I did learn through this whole process is that the rotation history actually in Houdini does not transfer to Unreal just automatically because there's a lot of like differences between the two, I guess. I found this one forum that kind of explained it to me a little bit. Like in terms of rotation, the X value in Unreal is the same as it is in Houdini, but Unreal's Y value actually translates to Houdini's Z value, and then Unreal Z value translates to Houdini's Y value for some odd reason. And then on top of that, you would have to convert it from meters to centimeters because Houdini is in meters as opposed to Unreal, which works in centimeters. But a way that I got around with the rotation, because I needed rotation for the building generator and to be able to rotate windows, doors, etc. around, is I'm actually rotating the normals, which I have set up in Houdini. I'll actually take a minute and actually open up my Houdini project back up because I forgot to show this to you. It was just an easier way of doing it, so I'm changing the directions of the normals, which thus is just making a really interesting way to rotate, so it actually rotates properly in Unreal. Oh, well, that's attempting to load up. Let's see if I can do some stuff. So when I come over here to this guy and hit this button, you'll see these, I believe it's the blue trees that actually disappear. I'll come in here and select a body and give it a minute. Yeah, there it goes. So it replaces a lot of the trees and stuff that were originally in the scene. And just to kind of show you all the different options that you have in terms of your building body or what you want to start out with. There's the skinny building, there's little smaller buildings, and they just kind of progressively get bigger as you go through the many options. And it goes for the same thing with just about any of it. Let's see, bring this up. It's everything. So you can see it maybe. Oh, there it is. There's the chimney. Let's put this chimney on the house. There you go. We're almost making it. Let me put you 0. See. Oh no. Windows key. Just kind of. Jeez, what values did I use on this? Just so that this will be a little bit less painful. I guess I didn't put a chimney on. See if I can get these. Let's do 20. Jesus. Moves you. I'm gonna go up, just gotta be Z. There we go. There you go, a little chimney. And there's many options also for what kind of chimney or how you want it, more straight or crooked or however. Just to kind of go through all of them, show you. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Much quicker than meticulously trying to place all these modular pieces. Just to show you the node in here that actually is controlling the normals. Let me, just so y'all know, this is the actual HDA. I just copy and pasted all this network of points to here, so that if I ever needed to go back and edit any of these guys, I can, without messing up the HDA or being able to put the HDA back out. So like in here, I was talking about this guy's the normal direction, which is, if you open it up, it's got this guy all up in here, which is the switcher's normal 1, 2, 3, and 4, which all represent different directions based on this value right here of the vector. And it goes, I think it's you can go the left, right, forward, or back are the different options, are the only options for this guy in both the positive and negative values. And then you just stick it in, output it out. And then in here, for this case, is I'm actually randomizing the normal direction for each of these points, so they're all technically facing in a different direction whenever they generate, whatever that direction is. And just to kind of show you out here, let's see, the normals display. This is where technically it's the rotation or the direction in which the object's normals is rotated. To show y'all, let's go back down to this guy, because I have windows already generated here. Which is right here. See windows. I don't remember if you're 1 or 2, but we'll see. You are 1. So you see, this is actually how it looks when it originally spawns, and then I just kind of go through the different directions and then find out which one is the correct direction I want it to be facing in to act as the rotation. And so this is basically a nice little layout tool to hopefully get level designers laying out their levels just a tad bit quicker with whatever modular pieces. In this case, all of these are modular pieces, and it's using that to generate them at every single point that I showed you at in Houdini, but here in this nice little grid of things. And occasionally it's not entirely perfect because there's still some overlapping points I wasn't able to get out of the tool, but just to kind of go back, show ya that this guy, you can swap out the meshes as you see fit. So if you scroll down here on the tool, here's all the meshes actually instanced within this Unreal project, and you can kind of go in, and I have some meshes here. I'll just show you swapping things out. Geometry, nature. Let's swap out with some more bushes. We'll swap out this barrel for this nice little bush, and it will swap out all the barrels all over the place on this particular version of the tool. Let me move this guy real quick so we don't have all the shadows on this one. And made that change to act as some form of bearing. You can go through and just still play through it basically and just see. It's neat. You can do that with any of them. Just take something, say you don't like boxes and you want this brazier there instead. Bam, just all over the place. Brazers. And the textures are just not wanting to maybe generate, even though they're clearly attached. Yeah, it's slightly broken. Okay, cool. Let me just see. And there are textures. Looks like it. So I'm gonna show you can just swap it out with just whatever. However you want it, and you can even, if you would like to, just generate buildings and have trees instead. And it's changing the size. Oh joy. So this is also another thing that I happen to run into. I'm not sure why it occasionally happens, but it either swaps out my meshes or, well, let's see, where are those purple flowers at? Or we'll change the sizes of all of them. Let's see, throw in some trees. There we go. But you can swap them back. And have the variations however you see fit. Even come up here, go back to level generation. You should visibly see assets and props being basically points getting turned on and off and changing the way that it will generate them, or which points it's generating at one time. And it affects the trees, and I believe it's also affecting the barrels and crates. And just to kind of show what the road type stuff does, so if I come get a bird's eye view and get all the nice little holes back in, you can generate pathways. Basically generate pathways and change where the mesh is has less holes compared to where it does, if that's a desire that people have. And now you can just go back to that guy and then not worry about it. And then this parameter here will generate less props depending on what the value is. Show. And this is just basically taking away points. It shows visibly. There it goes. Just has to give itself a minute to update and actually show. And you can still just run through it. So just a nice, quick little layout tool to get a general idea of how a level designer would probably want a particular level set up with whatever meshes they decide to use with them. So yeah, that is my tool. Hope y'all enjoyed the brief breakdown.